Hey, this is Mark Moore, aka Tuxedo Mark, at various places on the internet. It's 3:02 p.m. according to a computer clock on Tuesday, March 4, 2014. And yesterday, my mom and I went to see Son of God. Yeah, we don't go to the movies often together, but we went yesterday, and I had only recently found out about the film maybe, I don't know, a week before it came out. I don't know. But, yeah. Okay, so, I'm gonna preface this a bit by, mentioning some other Jesus-related films that I've seen. Just so you'll know where I'm coming from. I've seen Jesus of Nazareth. I believe that's from the 1970s. It's like a British miniseries, I think. It's really long. I've seen Jesus, aka the Jesus film. That's also from the 70s. It's the one that stars Brian Deacon. Supposedly, at least the filmmakers claim that it's the most viewed film ever, because literally they try to dub it into every language in the world and show it in like the remotest parts of the world, and they mail it out across the country, like everywhere, for free. I don't know if it's the most viewed film of all time, but you know, I've seen it. So, I have seen. This is a long time ago on TV, probably back in the late '80s, early '90s. I don't even remember it that well. King of Kings. I believe that's it. The one starring Jeffrey Hunter. All that I remember is the scene when Jesus visits John in prison. And the prison is kind of slanted, and John has to crawl up to reach. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen that one. I saw a 1999 miniseries on, I think it was ABC. I don't remember exactly. It was just called Jesus. It starred Jeremy Sisto. That was pretty good. It was a 2-part miniseries. I saw Mary, Mother of Jesus, which starred Christian Bale as Jesus. So I've seen that. Any others? Well, okay, I saw The Passion of the Christ back in was it 2003 or 2004 that it came out? I don't remember. My mom and I went to see that in the theater, and we also went to see The Nativity Story in the theater. So this is like the third Jesus film that we've seen in the theater is Son of God. I saw the Miracle Maker. I guess I think that was called. It was like a stop motion animation type of movie. So I've seen that. I think that's all of them. Okay, so what do I think about this film? Well, I'm going to preface this a bit again by saying that this is actually edited from the Bible miniseries that aired on the History Channel last year. And I knew that going in. It collects, the Jesus portions from it was a 10-episode miniseries, 1 hour long each, including commercials. So Jesus was in like episodes 6 through 10, I believe. So they edited that together, and they add in extra footage that hadn't been shown in the miniseries, and I'm pretty sure that they cut some stuff out. I know they cut Satan out because of that stupid controversy. But, it holds together well as a feature film, you wouldn't be able to tell that this was edited from a TV miniseries if you didn't already know. And it is lavish production. It's a theatrical level production. Now that said, this movie, from what I've read on Box Office Mojo, the last time I checked, it was at number 8 with like $25 or $26 million gross. It was like the number 8 Christian movie of all time. And it counts the Narnia films as Christian films. So if you exclude those, it's like the number 5 Christian movie. And I think it's the number 2 Jesus film in terms of box office gross, behind The Passion of the Christ, obviously. Made like $300-something million domestically. But yeah, Son of God should get up to number 5 at least, behind The Passion of the Christ and the 3 Narnia films. That said, it would still be a distant 5th place, but box office revenue is pretty much inconsequential here. It doesn't matter if it makes much money. This is all gravy, because it was shown on History Channel, like from all 10 episodes plus the repeats. There was like a combined audience of like 100 million people. So they made a lot of advertising revenue off of that. The production for all 10 episodes, it was very small by theatrical standards. I'm gonna look it up here, but let me see here. Let's see, it was watched by 13.1 million total viewers. Blah, blah, like 3. Oh, I think that was week 1. But let me see here. It was like the number 1 TV on DVD in the last 5 years. The Bible miniseries. So it's on DVD. It's on Blu-ray. I don't know how many copies exactly that's sold. I can't find the info at the moment. Oh yeah, 100 million cumulative views. Under 22 million budget. So it must have already made that back from advertising revenue and DVD and Blu-ray sales. So Son of God does not even need to make any money except some probably negligible costs in re-editing it for the theater. Let's see how much money that's made back. $27 million. There's only domestic total. I don't know if it's going to open worldwide or not. It's still the number 8 Christian film. Oh, okay, so it should easily beat Fireproof, Courageous, and The Nativity Story. And then it's a long way to get to the latest Narnia film, but still, this this is just a way to distill the Jesus story and put it out on a big screen for everyone to see. Might be a cash grab, I don't know. I'm not gonna judge that, but okay. I've rambled long enough about that. So what do I think of the film itself? Okay, it starts off kind of jumbled. The pacing is kind of strange. It starts off with okay, I guess I'll address this first. The framing story is an old John, the Apostle. He's old and he's in exile on the island of Patmos. Now, the reason for this, I realized what they were doing here. They were equating John the Apostle with the author of the Revelation to John, who identifies himself as John, a disciple of Jesus. Now the thing is, John was a very common name. Just because Revelation was written by a disciple of Jesus named John, it doesn't mean it was John the Apostle. In fact, linguistic experts, people that study this, have analyzed the Greek texts of the Gospel of John, the Epistles of John, and the Revelation to John, and the writing styles differ between them. So they must have been written by 3 different people. Doesn't mean that John the Apostle is John the I don't know what you'd call him, the epistle writer. And also the same John from Revelation. Doesn't mean that. This is a case of biblical simplification. Let's just try to keep it really simple for the dumb masses, Anyway, so John's telling the story. Now, you would think this would mean this would be an adaptation of the Gospel of John, but not really. If you want to see an adaptation of the Gospel of John, watch the Gospel of John. It's like a 3-hour movie, but it's very well done. I think it's a Canadian production, starring some Scottish guy as Jesus, I think, but it's really good. It's literally the entire Gospel of John. But this takes stuff from John and takes stuff from the other Gospels, kind of puts them together, and it's very cookie cutter in its approach. Well, I'll get to that, but first, it starts off with John saying, that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was from God, and the Word was God. And he was there with Adam and Eve in the garden. He was there with Noah. He was there with Moses. And they're showing clips from all these different episodes from the Old Testament portion of the Bible miniseries really quickly. And then it gets to Jesus. Now, Jesus, a very quick nativity story. It's got the wise men and all that stuff. It's got the birth, but it's very quick. And Then Jesus is an adult, and he goes and he calls Peter. And he convinces Peter to follow him by doing the miraculous catch of fish. Now, if you remember in the Gospels, Peter had, the apostles just had, or the disciples or whoever, caught so much fish that the boat was in danger of tipping over. They had to signal to their friends to come and help them carry all of this fish ashore. And here it's just that Jesus basically invites himself into Peter's boat. Peter's like, what are you doing? You can't just come in here. Jesus makes Peter help him in. Peter's like, there's no fish here. Jesus helps him catch fish, but it's not enough to make the boat in danger of sinking, and he convinces Peter to follow him. Now, Peter's never named Simon in this film, because in the Gospels, Jesus changed Simon's name to Peter. Here, he just says Peter, and Peter. It's obvious Peter never met him before, because he's surprised that Jesus knew his name. There is a very gross oversimplification of a lot of these stories, and they take little bits of teaching, little snippets from one part, they mix it in with another event. Yeah. Also, I think in the Gospels, Jesus originally went to Andrew first, and then Andrew went to Peter and said, "I found the Messiah," or whatever. We have the apostles in this film, but I don't think all of them are named, not by a long shot. We got Peter, Thomas, Judas. I think maybe one other might be named by name. I'm not sure. But it's very cookie cutter. Plus they mention that Pilate has become the new governor of Judea, and Pilate's a jerk. He's impatient. There's this scene at the beginning when he and his wife are arriving, and there's a cart stuck in the middle of the road with a broken wheel or something. This guy's kid is in it. Pilate's like, "What's the hold up? We got a broken cart in the road, sir." And he's like, "Clear it out, get out of here." So soldiers tip over the cart off into a ditch, and the kid's on the cart, and he dies. And we never hear of this incident again. I mean, the father stares out at the passing soldiers, but then it's never brought up again. It's just to show that Pilate's a jerk, even though he didn't directly give the order to do it that way. It's just that the soldiers interpreted it that way, and Pilate, he doesn't care. What else? Okay, so they skip over a lot of stuff. After Jesus calls Peter, John gives some narration saying that he recruited more of us, and then the crowds began to grow, and then all of a sudden Jesus is hugely popular, and people are following him everywhere. Literally, there's no build-up. They just breeze through it. What else? Okay, the resurrection of Lazarus. In the Gospels, obviously Jesus had them roll away the stone, and then he stands outside and calls Lazarus, "Come out," and then Lazarus comes out. He's all bandaged up, and they have to unbandage him. And here, Jesus goes into the tomb, which he never does in the Gospels. Lazarus is not bandaged up, they just kind of laid him down in there. Jesus kneels behind him and holds his head, and he's like, I'm the resurrection, I'm the life. Whoever believes in me, even though he dies, will live forever. And then he kisses Lazarus' head, or his face is like behind his head or something. And then Lazarus wakes up. Yeah, Jesus never went into the tomb, and even the stuff that he says before Lazarus' resurrection, even though he says that stuff in the Bible, it's in the wrong spot. Well, I'm not going to go through every difference between the movie and the Bible, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of oversimplification. There's a lot of compression and mixing, swapping things around. They have the feeding of the multitude, which, other than a resurrection, it's the only miracle present in all four Gospels. But they place it a bit later than it should have been, because in John's narrative, it's very early on in Jesus' ministry, but they don't have it. John the Baptist is shown in flashback, but he's not even mentioned until someone tells Jesus that John's been executed. And then there's a bit of a flashback to when Jesus was baptized, but we don't get John's testimony about Jesus or anything like that. There's this scene where Pilate, the people are rebelling because Rome has some kind of aqueduct plans, and Pilate's like, this place needs water. I mean, your God's not going to give it to you. Rome gives it to you, and he's being a jerk, and he has his soldiers slaughter people in the crowd. I mean, according to the Gospels, not the Passion account, any of the Passion accounts, but there is one moment in one of the Gospels, I forget which, earlier on, where Jesus mentions some really bad thing that Pilate did in passing, something about slaughtering people in the temple or somewhere, and that he mixes their blood with the blood of their animal sacrifices just to be a jerk. So apparently Pilate was pretty bad, but here they just went way overboard with it. Now they did put his wife in there, Claudia, so that was good. I liked her. They have Mary, one of the Marys, tagging around with Jesus and the rest of his disciples. First I thought this was Mary Magdalene, and the reason I thought that was she's wearing these earrings, these long earrings, and I thought, oh, they're going with a thing where Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, even though the Bible never says anything about her being a prostitute. Doesn't say much about her at all, in fact. But no, apparently it's Mary, the sister of Martha, because when they arrive back in Nazareth, Mary runs over to her and says, Martha, what happened? I'm like, oh, it's Mary, the sister of Martha. Okay. We usually don't see much of her in Jesus films, but okay, that's kind of neat. And I like that she doesn't have her head covered all of the time either. I'm not sure how much that women would have been able to get away with that in that time. I don't even know if it was really a requirement at all, but yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I liked her. What else? Okay, the once it gets to the Passion Week, it gets very it gets really good. You could tell that the filmmakers took a lot of cues from the Passion of the Christ. A lot of the imagery is the same, such as when Jesus is being led out to the crucifixion. He's having flashbacks to when he arrived on donkey during Palm Sunday, and also after his body's taken down from the cross and Mary's holding it, and we see the other Mary and John, I believe. That's like this almost pretty much the same shot as in the Passion of the Christ, except it was Mary Magdalene instead of Mary, the mother of Mary, the sister of Martha. Actually, it's kind of funny. At one point, when they arrive back in Nazareth, Mary's like, Mary, and then Mary's like, Mary. I thought it was kind of funny. And then I think later on, one of the disciples or whatever, they're trying to follow Jesus along during the Passion, and he's like, Mary, this way. Yeah. Oh, actually, now that I look up the cast list, it does say that it's Mary Magdalene. That's weird. Maybe they're trying to conflate Mary Magdalene and Mary, the sister of Martha, into one person? Is that what they're doing? I don't know. This is confusing. I didn't. I'm reading this online. Even though I watched the closing credits, I don't remember. I don't remember how they credited her. It includes a few things that I wish happened in the actual Passion film, which was Pilate declaring what shall be written on Jesus' cross, and then he's like, that he defends what he had written, and it stays that way. There was, I think when the darkness covers the land, they treat it as like thunderclouds, and you can hear thunder. Even though I think one of the Gospels, it might have been Luke, I think he either says or alludes that it's a solar eclipse. They have an earthquake, and they have the thing with the shroud in the temple being torn in half. I believe. No, I don't think it gets torn in half. I think it just falls over, along with other stuff in the temple. I think they mentioned that an earthquake was occurring or something like that. Another similarity with the Nativity story, I believe, is that one of the wise men was black, and they also made Simon of Cyrene black, which was interesting. Although I don't know how many people from South Africa were in Judea at the time. I guess they just want to be inclusive or whatever. Now, during the Passion obviously doesn't last as long as it does in the Passion of the Christ, and they actually, Pilate never sends Jesus to Herod. Or wait a minute, Herod is credited in here, played by a guy named Rick Bacon. Okay, but I don't recall Herod appearing during the actual Passion portion of the movie. If he appeared, I forget where it was, but yeah, Pilate never sends Jesus to Herod. Okay, so is there anything else for me to say about this film? I guess that's about it. It's a good film. It's just a bit unfocused at the beginning, and one major thing that I kind of rolled my eyes at. Jesus tells Peter, before dawn you will deny me 3 times. He doesn't say like before the rooster crows or whatever, or the rooster crows twice. I think there might be some variance between the Gospels on that, but he says before dawn. But the thing is, in the Gospels, it happens like while they're waiting outside and they're warming themselves by a fire, and it's a bit of a while between each denial. In the movie, it happens in like 30 seconds, like back to back to back. And it happens in daylight. It's past dawn already. Wow, that was silly. And the only thing that my mom could even say was, what about the rooster? That's all that she took away from that. I mean, what about the rooster? I mean, yeah, we'd like to see the rooster too. Roosters are awesome, but he had Peter's denials after daybreak, even though Jesus had said before dawn. Now, after the denials, when Peter remembers what Jesus said, and you hear Jesus' voice as Peter's remembering it, they omit the before dawn part. I think they realized how stupid that would have looked. But still, it's very noticeable. Okay, I don't know what else that I could say. I'd probably just be sitting here trying to think of stuff to say. It's an okay film. It's not bad. It's unfocused at the beginning, but then it gets pretty good. I would have done it differently. There's they just skim a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously they couldn't put every single teaching in there, but I wouldn't even have the backstory with Adam, Eve, Noah, Moses, David, Abraham, whoever else was in there. I would have cut all of that. If anything, since John was the narrator, I would have just done material from the Gospel of John and just stuck to that. Not even have the nativity story, or I think there was a brief bit where Jesus was 12. Oh yeah, during the beginning part of the closing credits, you can see they repeat stuff that was in the film, but they also show stuff that wasn't in the film proper. And I'm not sure if this is additional stuff from the miniseries, if it was like within the narrative of the miniseries or not. I don't know, but yeah. Apparently the running time was 138 minutes, so a little over 2 hours. It's okay. Edited from basically 5 hours, including commercials from a TV miniseries. It's okay. It's just I would have made it more focused, and but it's okay. It's worth a rental, and if you haven't seen it in the theater, go and see it. Sure, go and see it. But I wouldn't say it's the best Jesus film that I've seen, and I really don't think I've seen a bad Jesus film, so it's just, take my kind of undecided opinion for what it's worth. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on it. Starts off kind of shaky, gets better. That's it. It's 3:37 p.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.